This week's Who Would Win of the Week is Taco from The League versus Kelso from That 70s Show. Now, there's like I was watching some like documentary about That 70s Show. I don't know what it was some behind the scenes thing. And they were talking about this one moment pretty early on in the show. They were talking about like what a great dedicated actor Ashton Kutcher is. And they show this clip where Kelso, they're in the basement. Kelso has to jump over the couch and stand up. And he jumps over the couch and he slams his shins into this coffee table. Doesn't miss a fucking beat. Guy's a total pro. Delivers his line. And they were like, he was fucked up after. Like, he could, like, that. He was very hurt after that moment. But he kept it going. So it's very, like, Kelso is a steam engine, man. He's a locomotive. He can't be stopped once he gets that head of steam going.
Here's the thing, is they're both very similar because they're high all the time in the way that they do things, right? Like, the biggest example I can think of is they both always leave things in obscure places thinking that they're going to remember, like, I hid this here on purpose.
Yes.
And then they, like, stumble upon it in a later date because they could never find it.
Yeah, classic
and they're like,
stoner trait.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's where I left this hamburger, and then they take a bite out of it.
Like,
and
well,
like,
the taco, it's usually, like, a bong that's somewhere in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or he's turned something. But Kelso, when Kelso's high, he's almost smarter than when he's not. Because it brings him to that, like, mellow state. Whereas when he's, like, not smoking weed, he is an idiot. Like, his character is dumb. Like, that's, you know, the whole basis of his character is, like, there's a lack of intelligence here. Taco is a fucking genius. And that doesn't come to fruition often because he is always so high. But it's there. It's just inside of him. It doesn't need to be outside of him because he's just chilling, right? But you see when he stops smoking weed, like, he remembers that he can speak, like, multiple languages. Like, he's a genius,
right?
And even when he is high, like, obviously EBDB, like, you know, everything that goes on with
what
that.
What did you say?
EBDB.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That's from the league.
Yeah.
All right.
That's Eskimo Brothers database.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is even when Taco is super high, he's very innovative. He's a very creative dude. And I will say, Kelso, Taco, there's something about him that allows him to float through life, basically always coming up on top, without having to try too hard. If Kelso doesn't have that. Kelso, at the drop of a hat, will lose his life entirely. Like, he'll just completely fall apart.
But on the flip side of that, so I do think...
Doesn't have that magic.
So this is what I think happens in this fight. Taco is very non-confrontational. Like, he would not... Whereas Kelso is Kelso is very, like... He's dancing all the time. Like, you know what I mean? He's moving, he's grooving, he's spotlights on him, style of life. Like, he's loud, he's out, like, you know.
Yes, and I don't think he'd shy away from Taco.
No,
for sure.
so that and I think if Taco, like, if you dropped these two, if you kidnapped both of these two,
love it,
while they were high, and bags over their head, brought them and then you know, all
standard
kidnapping, woke them up. And they're in a dark room, and you turn the lights on, and they're in an octagon surrounded by, like, 100,000 people. Like, I don't think Taco's phased at all. Like, I think Kelso's, like, all of a sudden, like, buzzing, and they're like, you have to fight each other right now. And Kelso's, like, running laps around the ring. And Taco's just, like, waving at somebody in the crowd. Like, doesn't even really acknowledge what's happening.
Yes.
And Kelso's like, I got to figure out a way out of this ring. Like, I got to win. You know
and
what
if
I mean?
it's through Taco, that's what he's going to do.
And Taco's like, it's just like, you know, exactly. He's just floating his way through. He's like, this is just life. But I think that Kelso Kelso that like he gets himself all amped up and he goes and thinks that he's gonna like beat the shit out of Taco and somehow like ends up injuring himself and losing himself the fight without Taco even acknowledging that they're fighting. Like Taco, he sees Kelso starts charging at Taco and Taco's like what are you doing? And Kelso like trips like face first into the wall of the octagon, breaks his neck, and Taco's like looking around, and then they come in and put Taco's hands over his head, and Taco's like, I just won a MMA fight, and he has no clue how it happened, and Kelso's getting out of there on a stretcher.
You know what? I think that's pretty good because the one thing I did want to bring up was Kelso's athleticism. Like he's a strong guy. He's an athletic dude. He's in great shape. But when you put it like that, he's too clumsy, and it ultimately is going to work against him.
Yeah.
And with Taco on the other side, I think you nailed it right
I don't
away.
think Taco has to do anything.
Shit. I really thought I was going to go for Kelso just because, like, I think if he got his hands on Taco and he was a little more coherent or something, he could beat the shit out of him.
Well,
sure.
I don't think. Yeah, but like there's Taco is not like wouldn't win this fight because he's more physically dominant. I don't think Taco would have to do anything. I don't even think Taco would be forced to recognize that he was in this fight. I think Kelso would fuck it up himself.
Yeah. I wonder how people are going to vote on this one.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we're locking in.
Yeah, so we'll lock in Taco. Vote on that on Friday. This week's Food One of the Week, Taco versus Kelso.